Hey, we're back with another lick of the week, and this is the last week in January 2009, and we're now into the D position chord. Before, in the last video, we were messing around with D low position licks based on what I call the split finger D position, a la John Hardy and a lot of famous songs, the second part to ground speed. A lot of uses for that split finger idea. Now let's move into the whole chord shape, and like I've said before, most people, if they had to vote on their least favorite chord shape to play licks out of, would be the D shape down here in the first few frets, because it's just not very friendly for your left hand to have to hold this chord and play licks. I think that's why a lot of D licks revolve around broken chords, especially in the D shape, which I refer to as the number 2 shape. So you'll see the split finger D, you'll see the Sally Gooden position applied to D, because players tend to just not want to have to hold this for a long time because it's not very comfortable. But let's go ahead and play with some ideas based on the whole chord shape, and once you get used to it, you build up some strength and some stamina in your left hand. I think you won't mind this shape quite as much. It still may not be your favorite shape out of the 3 major shapes, the F, the D, and the bar, but it's valuable, and you need to know some of these ideas, and all the ideas you learn based on a shape are pretty much transposable to any area on the neck. You just have to watch out for open strings that don't work in every key. So let's take a rolling idea, and I'm going to eliminate the F sharp note on the 4th string, and the pattern is going to be 2-1. Now I'm going to add this B note on the 3rd string, 4th fret. So the ring finger is not being used for this F sharp note on the 4th string. I can pick it up and put it over. Now I've added a feature to my camera here that I hope works pretty well. I'm going to zoom in on my left hand, and as I play the lick, I'll call out the notes and watch the fingering of my left hand working out of this number 2 chord position, the D shape. 2-1, 3-2, 3-1, 4. 2-1, 3-2, 3-1, 4. So if you can see what my ring finger is doing, I'm actually just going back and forth between the 4th string to catch the F sharp note at the end of the roll. So it would be 2-1, 3-2, 3-1, 4, and some players add 1 and then 4 open at the end. So hopefully this zoom feature worked. Let me zoom back out. Now for the right hand, you might, I'll try to zoom in on that maybe, but I'll have to change my camera angle. You used index, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, thumb, which would be one option. You know, that fingering is optional. So it's just a descending pattern, like what we call an arpeggiated pattern. Arpeggios are basically just fancy names for chord runs, or notes out of a chord that are just repeated. So this is really an arpeggio idea, just streaming together some notes that happen to lay across the fingerboard based on the D shape. And again, we need to practice this with a metronome. So I'm going to fire this metronome up at about 100 beats a minute like normal, and I'm going to play this a little bit slower. And again, some of these notes are optional. If you want to leave the 1st string off at the end, you can. Now let me speed it up. So this lick is really valuable in that it's revolving around the chord shape, and it can be repeated as many times as you need it repeated to fill specific measures. It could correspond to some melody in places if you find a melody that sounds similar to that stream of notes, but more than likely it's just going to be a good filler lick or something used maybe in the context of improvisation over a part of a melody in D. Okay, now let's move to kind of inverse of the idea we just played. Now, the roll pattern here is kind of a squared off alternating thumb pattern. 4, 2, 3, 1, 3, pull off. There's that B note again, 4th fret of the 3rd string. Then the 2nd string, so it's 4, and you notice I'm hammering the 1st note. So there's my F sharp note, which is hammered. 4, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 2. So it's what I call a squared off alternating thumb roll. If you think back to your basic roll patterns, alternating thumb is usually 3, 2, 5, 1, 4, 2, 5, 1, right? Well, we're squaring this off, and by that I mean we're not including the 5th string in the pattern. So it's 4, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, and then the last note is 2. And the reason I'm ending on 2 is because 2, the 2nd string at the 3rd fret, is a D note, which resolves the lick, lets your ear know that, hey, this is a D lick, because at the end of it you hear the connection to the D note. And the reason you're stopping on the 4th string is because the 1st string, which is the same note, is being occupied at the 4th fret with the pinky, so that's an F sharp note. So if you don't, sometimes if you don't direct a lick to the listener's ear, if you don't resolve it, then they don't know exactly where it's going. So it's a good idea to resolve it to the root note, or the same note that represents the chord you're playing. So a D lick, you can resolve it to a D note somewhere. Now it doesn't always have to be this high D. I could have resolved it to the open 4th. So let me play that lick again, and let me go back to my fancy zoom function. Hopefully if it works. Alright, and I'll do this in slow motion. Watch the hammer on the 4th string, 4th fret, and then the pull off on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. So I've got this ring finger, just like in the previous lick, going from the 4th string to the 3rd string, but I'm doing a hammer on the 4th string and then a pull off on the 3rd string. Both notes on the 4th fret. So here we go, in slow time. 4, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 2. Okay, let me fire the metronome up. I don't think the right hand is as important as the left here, because you're just using an alternating thumb pattern for the right hand. So here we go. Again, I'm setting the metronome at about 100 beats a minute. Let me zoom back in, or out, whichever way it would be. So the tough thing about both of the licks that we've covered so far in this video is that you're having to hold the majority of the chord. There's a little leeway in that you don't have to hold the 4th string every time, obviously, but it puts some strain on the palm of the hand. You might feel a little tightness, a little tiredness in the palm of the hand, but this is normal for these chord shapes. And it's not that you're going to have to stand here and hold this chord for an extended period of time anyway, because you can always switch back and forth between the split finger D and the Sally Gooden position licks for this chord shape. But a lot of the classic Scruggs licks for D do revolve around you having to hold the shape and play the lick. So the first lick is just an arpeggiated pattern that resolves to that D note on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And this lick, the 2nd lick, is just an alternating thumb pattern that's been squared, which means we're not playing the 5th string. So let me play those licks together with the time left on this video with the metronome, and you'll get an idea how the two can be put together. Now add these licks in with the licks from the previous video, the split finger D, and you'll have some more licks to add to your arsenal. I appreciate it. See you next time.